What's up guys, it's Tyler Strike from Universal Rackets, and today it's going to be a great video. Today we are going to be going over the #1 reason why players aren't able to get to the next level in pickleball. Many beginner, many intermediate players struggle with this one concept. Now, for this one concept that we are going to go over, we're going to go over it in every single aspect of the court. And what I mean by that, we're going to be teaching you and going over it on the serve, the forehand, the backhand, the return, the dink, the volley, the smash. We are going to be going over it all. So make sure to stay tuned. Even if you don't do this one thing, if you watch this whole video, it's going to take your game to the next level. So let's get started. So first off, let's start out with the serve. Now the serve, you start the point. This is the start of the actual pickleball point. It's the serve. So a lot of players, they're here and they're in a big match. They have tons of nerves. They want to make sure that they beat their girlfriend or boyfriend on the opposite side. They want to make sure that they get the ball. And in pickleball, you only have one serve. There's no do-overs whatsoever. And they go like this. Again, they go like this. One more, they go like this. Now, they may be able, or you may be able to get the ball in by just going like this on your serve. But what's going to happen, and this is why many players can't get to that next level, is you are going to hit a ceiling. And what I mean by that is by stopping your shot, you're only going to be able to do so much with your serve. So you're never going to be able to hit it harder. You're never going to be able to put more spin if you're just trying to get the ball in. And this is the #1 thing where players go wrong. They don't let their shots go. They don't follow through all the way. They don't let their paddle go all the way. And if you've been following Universal Rackets for a while, my favorite quote in pickleball, and you probably hear me say this in every other video, is in pickleball, to gain control, you have to give up control. The more you let the paddle work for you and the less you work for the paddle, the better it's going to be. The better it's going to be, and the more consistency that you're going to have, the more confidence, the more power you're going to have. So again, instead of stopping it, I want you to fully follow through. You're going to be able to break that ceiling that you're stuck at, that you're stagnant at, right? So don't just try to get the ball in. Make sure you fully let the paddle go. Again, when I serve, I want to fully follow through throughout my shot. Now, a great cue that I like to use is my elbow. I want you to notice my elbow when I follow through for the serve. When I serve again, watch once I'm done. Look where my elbow's pointing. By pointing my elbow directly towards my target, that's going to ensure that I fully follow through. So I want you to go out and do this in a practice setting and just work on letting that paddle go all the way every single time you serve. Don't stop the swing. You need to let it go. Now, players, they hit the ceiling on their returns, and it's the exact same thing. Now, for the returns, we're going to be going over the forehand. This is the return or the drive. But players, they'll hit their returns. Here we are. They're going to hit it, and they go like this. Because what? They want to get the ball in. They just want to get it back, and there we go. Again, they're not going to be able to hit hard. They're not going to be able to hit a ton of spin, and you're going to hit a ceiling, and you're not going to be able to progress. You need to let the paddle go all of the way. So once you get to a certain level, and when you're practicing, I like to tell all of our students, I would rather have you miss going like this than make the ball going like this. And that is an F. You fail the test. This, it's maybe a, let's say C+. Maybe you might not get it in, but eventually what's going to happen is you're going to get that confidence and that consistency that the ball is going to eventually go in the court. And now you're going to be able to hit big rather than just stopping your shot. And what you're going to realize is by fully following through and letting go, you're going to be able to hit twice as big of a ball with half of the amount of effort. Once again, you're going to be able to hit twice as big of a ball with half the effort that you tried to do it before. The reason why is because what? You're letting the paddle work for you. And once you feel that once, twice, 3 times, you're like, wow, I can hit a serve and I can really hit it hard by following through. Or wow, I can hit a forehand driver or return by really letting it go. Once you establish that consistency, you guys are never going to go back. So get your partner out on court, go with your coach, go with your ball feeder, whatever, even self feeds, and just work on, don't care where the ball's going, just work on letting that paddle go all the way. Now notice when I let the paddle go for my forehand, return, or drive. Look at my elbow again. Guys, this elbow is amazing. If you can finish with your elbow pointing towards wherever you want to go, not only you will be able to aim where you want to aim, but you're going to ensure that you follow through. You cannot follow through without pointing your elbow. This means you did the proper thing. So go out for your serve, let it go every single time. Go out for your forehands, your drives or your returns, and every single ball, don't care. Just worry about this. Now, there's a big thing with this elbow tip, right? Okay, you are not forcing it to get there. A lot of players, what's going to happen is you're going to learn this, you're going to see this video, the number one thing that's stopping players getting to the next level, and you're going to try to force that elbow up there. And look how far the ball is going to go. You need to think, when I finish with my serve or my drive or return on the forehand side, this elbow is happening as a result of my momentum. Again, I'm not trying to get my paddle here. I'm not forcing it to get up here and point my elbow. I'm just letting my paddle go. So in order for you to get past that ceiling in pickleball and get to the next level, you need to hold the paddle loose. Once again, you need to hold the paddle loose. Scale 1 to 10, 10 being the tightest possible, 1 being you're basically dropping the paddle. I want you to be around a 1 or a 2, probably a 1.5 or 2.5 because you don't want to drop the paddle. It should be so loose that if it's any bit looser, it's going to fly out and hit the other person. So instead of winning 11-0, 11-0, you're going to win 11-0 KO. You get it? Amazing, I got the jokes. But again, you want to be super looser. Now, it's easier said than done, but here's the thing. For everyone watching, I want you to be 1 level less looser than you've ever have before. So if you were a 10, which I hope you're not a 10, you're going to be a 9. If you're 9, you're going to be 8. 8, be a 7. You know how to count numbers, right? So that is how you're going to do it. You're just going to be loose, and you're going to let your paddle end up here. That is for your forehand. Now, we're going to go over the backhand. We're going to go over the one hand and the two hand backhand. This could be used again for your return or your drive. So again, we go hit the backhand, we'll do the two-handed backhand. Players will hit it and they'll just try to get the ball in. Yes, you can get the ball in, but once you get to a certain level, you're gonna probably want some more on that ball. And how do we do that? Again, we do a full swing. Again, when I do it, I do a full swing. I don't just stop my paddle. Same thing for the backhand side, except on your backhand side, it's your non-dominant side. So unless you're ambidextrous, you're probably a little bit less comfortable with it. And also, if you have two hands on the paddle, it's more restricted. You don't have as much flexibility. So what you're going to do for the two-handed backhand to ensure that you don't have this problem and that you're not hitting that ceiling in pickleball is watch what I'm going to do. Instead of elbow, you're going to do elbows. Once again, you are going to do elbows. Both your elbows are going to be pointing wherever you want to hit. Notice something. My elbows aren't here. My elbows aren't here. My elbows aren't here. Both of my elbows are up. Also, a lot of coaches, they like to say in tennis to the juniors, you're smelling your armpits, right? No, I'm kidding, right? So when you finish again, you want to point both of your elbows up into the target. That's going to ensure your follow through. Now, there's another way that you can think of it for your forehand and your backhand as well. Some players, at least I've worked with in the past, they have trouble with mobility. Maybe their joints don't work. I'm not sure, I'm not really a PT, but maybe the elbow thing doesn't work for them, and that's perfectly fine. Easy, instead of doing the elbow, what you're going to do is you're going to do the butt cap. So I'm gonna swing again. Instead of stopping, right? I'm not hitting that ceiling, I am getting better in pickleball. Watch what I'm going to do. Here we are. Look at the butt cap of my paddle. Once again, look at that butt cap of the paddle. Where is that butt cap of the paddle pointing? It's pointing directly towards where I wanna hit it. So you can either think elbows, or you can think butt cap. Same thing for the forehand. Here we are, we're pointing the butt cap. By doing those, that's going to ensure, once again, that you follow through. Now, for the backhand as well, you need to be loose. You can't be locked. Now, for the one-handed backhand, we don't have an elbow. We can't do that. That's not going to work, right? So what you're going to do is instead of doing elbows, you're going to hold your paddle like this once you're done. Once again, for the one-handed backhand drive or return, what you're going to do is you're going to hold your paddle out like this. Now, if you're a right-handed player, the name of this tip is the left side of the letter V. Do you guys see this V? If you achieve the letter V, you will get consistency on that one-handed backhand, right? So when you finish again, I'm not going here, I'm not going here, I'm not stopping. Again, a lot of players, they'll start out, they're new to the game, they'll start out with that one-handed backhand, and it'll look like this on this side, especially on this side because it's their non-dominant side. Again, when I finish, I want to finish, and I want to be on that left side of the letter V. Now, if I'm a left-handed player, what I'm going to do, right side of that letter V. By doing the letter V tip, that's going to ensure, once again, that I have the proper follow-through. Guys, you need to think for the serve, for the forehand, for the backhand drive or return, it's a stroke. It's not a jab. It's not a dot. It's a super long stroke. Now, we were getting some comments, oh, you want to keep it short? Yes, 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 I get it, I get it, I get it. But what I'm trying to do is before you shorten up your stroke, you need to keep it long, and you can get that feeling of really ripping that ball by letting it go. And that's going to take your game to the next level. So again, you want to make it long. You don't want to make it short and stop, okay? Let's keep going. All right, so we went over the drives, the serves, the returns, the ground strokes. Now let's go over the drops. Are you guys ready? Let's go. So the good old drops. Players, they aren't able to hit a drop, or they hit the drop super high because, again, they're slamming the brakes. Okay, eventually you're going to be able to get it over into the kitchen, but it's going to be pretty high if you just slam the brake. Same thing with the drop. You don't want to do a full big swing, but you want to make sure that you extend forward. You need to stop trying to stop your paddle and fully let it go. So when I hit this forehand drop, watch, I'm not stopping it. I'm hitting and I'm going forward and I'm carrying it. Notice I am going forward and up on that ball. Forward and up. I'm not just stopping my paddle. So a great drill to ensure that you are giving up control, you're letting the paddle work for you, not working for the paddle, is the best way to think about the drop and by letting it go is, number one, if you don't let it go, I want you to think the Frozen song, and I want you to think about me singing it. I tell that a lot to my daughter, who I'm trying to teach pickleball right now. I'm like, Sienna, if you don't fully follow through, I'm going to sing, let it go. And she's like, stop, Daddy, don't do that, right? So number one, hear me singing, let it go. I'm way better at pickleball and teaching pickleball than I am at singing, okay? The second thing is that you can think it's a bean bag toss or a cornhole toss, okay? So when you do this cornhole toss, if I have I want to get the bean bag over there, if I go like this, it's not going to go anywhere, right? I am tossing it out and forward again. That is the same swing path that you want to do with your paddle for the drop. So think that you're going forward. Think that you're letting your paddle go. Same thing for the drop too. A lot of players, they have trouble. It goes too high because they're having a deft grip on the paddle. I want to go forward like I'm doing a beanbag toss. Again, I'm going forward like I'm doing a beanbag toss. Now, the backhand drop, the one and the two-handed backhand drop, is probably the most difficult shot in pickleball, in my opinion, but we're going to teach you that as well. Again, a lot of players, they limit themselves. They can't hit a good drop because they just stop the shot. Same thing. Now, I'm not doing a beanbag toss. This is my non-dominant side. This is a little bit more difficult, but I still want to go forward and through the ball. It's a stroke. It's not, again, a staccato note. It's not a jab. I am going forward and through the ball. So notice I am going forward and through. I'm going forward and up. Again, I'm going forward and up. One more. I'm going forward and up. The difference between a good and intermediate plus advanced level drive and drop is one thing, okay? Two things, okay? If I'm hitting a drive that's going into the court, I'm going forward and through the ball. So if I'm hitting a drive, I'm going through the ball. I need to hit it up and I need to hit it forward. Now, for the drop, I'm going more up on the ball. The more forward and through the ball, the more that ball penetrates the court. The more you go up on the ball, the more that ball will dive and dip in. So think again, I'm going forward and through to hit that drive, left side of the letter V, just like I taught you. Now for the drop, instead of going forward, I'm going to go more up so I can get that into the court. That is the difference. The more forward you go, the deeper it's going to go. The more up you go, the more into the kitchen it's going to go. And that's a great drill to do. If you're missing your drops along, you need to go more up. If you're missing your drops in the net, you need to go more forward. So a great thing when you start missing, eventually what you're going to do, and if you watch my videos, I'm here to not only teach you how to execute the proper technique, but I'm here to teach you what to do when things go wrong, okay? It's like, think about it. You have a headache, what do you take? You take Tylenol. You have a bellyache, what do you take? You take this, you have this, you take this, right? You have symptoms, then you have a medicine, right? I'm not a doctor, but I've taught so many doctors, right? And what do they have? They study all this medicine. Think pickleball is medicine, okay? You have certain remedies to fix things. Pickleball is all about problem solving. So if you hit a drive super long, what does that mean? That means probably you're picking your head up or you're stopping your swing. So you need to follow through more and keep your head down. If you hit a drive in the net, that's probably because you're coming on top of the ball. So you need to get below the ball more. Maybe we'll make a whole video on that. But again, you need to start thinking as pickleball as problem solving rather than, oh, I have to do this specifically or this is the proper technique. No, just problem solve. Pickleball is all problem solving to a certain degree. So we went over the one-handed drop. Now we're going to go over the two-handed drop. So again, think about it, okay? The two-handed drop, it's super difficult, but it's becoming my favorite shot. But think, a drive, I am going forward, right? So how do we get a drop? You tell me, you coach me right now. How is Tyler going to hit a two-handed drop into the kitchen? What do? We have to go more up. But notice again, I'm not just stopping my swing. That's when we hit that ceiling. I am going forward and up. Okay, I hit it in net. What do I have to do? I need to go more forward into it. Okay, that was a little bit long. So that means I need to go maybe a little bit more up. Ah, too much up. Let's try one more. I'll take that. That's okay. Again, that's a super difficult shot, especially feeding the ball to you. So we went over to serve, we went over to drives, we went over to returns, we went over to drops on the forehand and the backhand side. Now we are going to take you up to the kitchen and we are going to go over the dinks, the volleys, and the overheads. So stay tuned. All right, so here we are, the number one place where players are, at the kitchen. Now, this is a huge reason why players can't get to the next level. They keep on getting the ball smashed at them. Their dinks are going too high. And the reason why their dinks are trying to go, or their dinks are going too high, is because they're gripping the paddle too tight and they're just trying to get it in. Have you ever been here? You're in a dink rally, you know someone's good on the other side, you know that they're going to get the ball back. What do? You tighten it up and you try to get it in. And what happens is by tightening your paddle up, your grip up, and by trying to get it in, you're going to pop the ball up in the air and then they're going to smash it down at you or your opponent. So again, your dinks, if I grip it too tight, and too many players do this, and I try to stop my paddle, the ball is going to go up super high. If I want to dink and hit a good dink, I still need to let that paddle go. By holding the paddle loose for the dinks, that's going to absorb the ball. If I hold it super tight, it's just going to make the ball fly up in the air. By holding the paddle loose, I'm going to absorb it, and by following through still, that's going to get the ball to go in. Again, it's kind of what's the word? It's contradictive, right? It's like, wait, I'm supposed to let the paddle go and let it do the work. I'm going to have a way better result than if I slam the brakes, try to force it in. And this is a huge type of mental realization that players have to understand. But what's going to happen is when you guys do this video, if you guys apply these tips, you're going to see the type of shot that you hit by applying these principles, and it's going to totally change your game, and it's going to win you over because you're going to be like, holy crap, I can feel like I'm not doing as much. I'm letting the paddle work for me more, and I can hit twice or 3 times as better of a shot. And that's why I'm here to teach this to you guys, right? A lot of times, especially with the beginners, they'll be here and they're just trying to get the ball in because they're learning pickleball, right? And they're popping the ball up too high. I need to hold my paddle loose, and I need to, again, go more forward. Now, I spoke to you guys about the difference between the drive and the drop. The drive, you go more forward and through the ball. The drop, you go more up. Now, think about it. The dink and the drop are kind of the exact same thing, except the drop, you have way more distance to cover than the dink. Once again, the drop and the dink, they're kind of the same stroke to a certain degree, but the drop, you have way more distance to cover because you're back closer to baseline, rather than when you're dinking, you're right up at the kitchen. So instead of going forward and up now, like I do for my drop, I just need to go more up. But again, I still want to follow through and I want to hold the paddle loose. The number one thing when players come to me or people at Universal Rackets tell our coaches, they say, hey, my dinks are going too high. How do I fix it? How can I fix my dinks? I just can't keep the ball in the kitchen. My opponent's smashing the ball at me. Well, hey, are you holding the paddle tight or are you holding the paddle loose? A lot of players, they hold the paddle tight, they use their wrist, they stop it. No, I want to fully extend. So again, I want to make sure I'm like this. I'm not like this trying to get the ball in. Now, a great drill that we do at Universal Rackets for all of our beginner players, and sometimes when I go on social media or go on YouTube, I'll probably get some comments about this, and hey, that's okay. Different tips work for different people, right? Not one size fits all. I just hope I give you so many tips in this YouTube, in our YouTube channel with everything, and it's going to improve your game. One or two of them will, right? But not one size fits all. But what I do, and what I instruct all the instructors to do at Universal Rackets is when players go out to learn the dink, one thing that we do at first is to make them put their paddle down and fully extend to the point once they're done, then we teach them how to use their non-dominant hand, and we tell them to finish with their non-dominant hand touching their paddle. So we go out and say, okay, everyone, now after you learn the dinks, everyone, you guys learned the dinks. I have all my imaginary people here, right? You guys learned the dinks, perfect. Now we're getting a feel for it. Now what I'm going to do, and what I'm going to instruct every single one of you to do, is once we're done dinking, instead of just stopping, you are going to touch your non-dominant hand on the paddle. By doing this, this will not only get you in the proper ready position, but this is going to ensure that you fully finish your stroke. Kind of same concept I taught you for the elbow, elbows, or the right or left side of the letter V. So we'll get everyone to go out and we'll literally do the clapping drill when players have to, again, end like this. Now, Tyler, what are you talking about? If I'm going like this and everything and I'm making it super long, I'm going to just get sped up on. They're going to eat me alive. Well, hey, again, that's for beginner players to learn the essence of letting the paddle go. Once you get higher up, you're not just going to go like this, but it is a perfect way to start out in our opinion. And guys, it works. It's proven to work, okay? So again, by doing this, by fully extending, letting it go, touching it with your opposite hand, that's a great exercise. Same thing for the backhand dink, okay? So again, a lot of players, especially for the backhand dink, just like it because it's non-dominant side, it's more uncomfortable, they'll just stop their paddle. Again, I still want to go forward. I want to go forward. I don't want to slam the brakes. I don't want to hold the paddle super tight. I just want to go forward with my backhand dink. By being loose, by going more forward, that's going to get the ball one or two hands way more in the kitchen rather than just slamming the brakes and trying to get the ball in. Now, for the volleys, okay, the volleys are kind of different, but still, you want to make sure for the volleys you make contact out in front. A lot of players, what they're doing wrong is their paddle's so close to their body and they're just making contact close to them. And when you make contact close to yourself, you're going to pop the ball up in the air. So for the forehand and backhand volley, what I ensure you to do is just make contact more out in front so you can go on top or forward to the ball rather than being close and making contact and popping the ball up in the air. Now, how can we ensure that we're going forward into the ball for our forehand and our backhand volleys? It's very simple. By starting in a ready position up and out in front, that's going to make it way easier for me to hit my volleys out in front. If I start with my hands close to my body, I'm going to make my, my contact close to the body. I'm going to pop the ball up in the air. But by starting with my hands away from the body, now I can get that ball out in front and I can win many more points. And I will be more proactive rather than reactive. Now, last but not least, the overhead, the smash, the put away. players, they can't hit a good smash or they can't put the ball away because they just try to get the ball in, okay? They just try to get the ball in. For an overhead, instead of finishing on top or over your shoulders, swinging low to high, an overhead or a put away volley, you need to swing high to low. You need to bring that ball down into the court. Many players, they'll hit an overhead or they'll hit an aggressive high volley, and what they'll do is they'll stop their paddle here, or they'll just go like this. They'll just go like this, or they'll just go like this. No, you need to swing down and forward, okay? So for the overhead, if you ever have a smash, someone pops the ball up to you in the air, I want you to swing so far across your body to the point that if you took your hand off your paddle, you'd catch it under your opposite arm. Again, like the elbow, like the left side of the letter V, like the follow through on the dink, touching your opposite hand for your overhead, instead of stopping, what you're going to do is you're going to follow through so much that you can catch the paddle under your opposite hand. That will ensure that you have the proper swing path, okay? Same thing for the volley again. For the volley, when you do it, you're not going to just stop here. You're not just going to go like that. You're going to go down and forward. Again, for the backhand volley, you're going to go down and forward to get that ball into the court. Now, here's a huge thing, okay? Again, players, people on YouTube or Instagram or whoever's watching it, right? They're going to say, oh, well, Tyler, you're telling me swing down now. You're making such big swings. How are you supposed to get to the next ball? Yes, I get it, okay? You want to make it more short, but this is for beginner, intermediate, club level players who are limiting themselves and putting a ceiling on themselves because they're not letting the paddle work for them. They're working for their paddle. They're keeping the stroke short, and they're just trying to get the ball in. So if you ever feel like you're at a ceiling in your pickleball game, and again, there's so many, this is, in my opinion, the #1 problem that players have when they're learning and progressing in pickleball, is that they're just trying to get the ball in, rather than if it's the serve, the forehand, the backhand, the drops, the volleys, the dinks. They're just trying to get the ball in, and they're ending up only able to hit so much power. They're popping the ball up too high, and they're not trusting in their shots. Also, they're death gripping, and they're getting shoulder, arm, knee injury pain, right? They're getting injuries because they're holding the paddle too tight. The more you can be loose, the more you can let the paddle work for you and don't work for the paddle, the better you're going to be. I mean, these paddles are $333. The Project 006 go for. However, if you use our promo code ADV-Universal, link in the description, you can get a gift card with your purchase. So you get an awesome paddle, you can get a hat, you could get balls, you could get whatever you want. They give you a good gift card. But the thing is these paddles are so expensive. Let it work for you, okay? Let the technology work. Don't work for the technology, right? You want to let your money work for you, your golf clubs work for you, and your pickleball paddles work for you. Now, we went over the #1 problem. I gave you all these different tips, all these different tricks, all these different things to solve it, okay? And the best way to go is go out and drill, go out and practice. Don't care, okay? Just let it go. Give no, you know what, okay? You don't care. If I'm gonna miss, I'm gonna miss going for it. I'm not gonna miss trying to get the ball in. And that's a great way if you're picking up pickleball, and like I'm trying to train my daughter personally, it's like I'm trying to tell her, Sienna, you can go for the shot every single time. Not for the dink, but I'm not going to move back. But if you're hitting a ground stroke, right, you can go for your shot. I'd rather have you miss the ball going for it than make the ball trying to just get it in. You're never going to get better by just tapping the ball in. You're going to get way better by letting the paddle go fully. Same thing with the dink. You're never going to get better by just slamming your dink or stopping your dink and trying to get it in. I want you to keep on working on it. Try to work on getting that full stroke, trying to get that full momentum so you can get the ball in. That's going to completely change your game. And again, like I said before, and try it until, and guys, every single one of you is going to be like, wow, you know, that guy, Tyler, who was explaining this from Universal Rackets on YouTube, you know, he was right. He told me if I just let it go and I keep on letting it go and try to work with it and keep on practicing, I'm going to get that feeling. It's going to win over your muscle memory. You're never going to hit a forehand return like this when you go out and you try and you hit 10 forehand returns like this and you see the amount of spin, the amount of power, the amount of control that you have by literally doing nothing but letting your paddle go. It's going to completely win over your muscle memory that you're never going to go back to that short stuff and stopping and being at a pickleball ceiling. Now, we spent about 30 minutes on this because it is such a huge topic. Again, in my opinion, it's the #1 thing why pickleball players can't get to the next level. Remember, in pickleball, to gain control, you have to give up control. The more you let the paddle work for you, the less you work for the paddle, the better you are going to be. You're going to be so much better off. You're going to be way more confident. You're going to be able to get to that next level. You're going to be able to hit more spin. You're going to be able to get more power. You're going to be able to just have so much more fun in pickleball and have no pain in your arms and your shoulders and your elbows because you're not holding the paddle super tight. So go out, practice again. Don't go out to open play and try it, right? Or in a competitive match, and just let that paddle go completely, and you will completely change your game. Now, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know in the comments below. If you guys love this channel, make sure to subscribe, make sure to share it with a friend. The best thing to do is to share our channel. My goal is once we monetize our channel to a certain amount, I'm going to be able to get professional editing. We're going to invest in different cameras, everything like that, so we can make it more of a production and more better for you guys, a more better experience for you guys. Now, if you've watched this video for so long, if you guys want any type of programming in your area, make sure to fill out the form in the description below, and Universal Rackets representative will get out to you shortly, okay? My goal, a lot of players my age, their goal is to become pro, their goal is to win a 5-0, a 6-0, whatever tournament. My goal is to become the biggest pickleball entrepreneur in the world. And how do I do that? Make connections with you guys. You guys hopefully love my videos and want me to come to you, want my company, want Universal Rackets to come to you to teach you pickleball. We do corporate events, fundraising events, any type of event. If you want it, we can make it happen. Fill out the form, and once again, we'll get back to you. Have a good one. Share with a friend. Let it go. I hope this video changes your game, and I'll see you next time on court.